Bravo 007, turn right, heading 185, reduce speed 180 knots.
185 on the heading, 180 on the Takeoff Air 007.
Speedbird 124, reduce speed 160 knots to 40 me.
Reduce 160 to 4, speed 124.
Hi there guys, Matt here. Hope you're all well. It's been a long time since I actually put out a video, and well, for those of you that follow Facebook and Twitter and watch my stream, you'll understand why. I have been riddled with technical problems, which apparently I've now fixed, so hopefully this lasts, well, for the foreseeable future. Fingers crossed. Anyway, today is something a little bit cool, a little bit different, something which is, well, I would say out of my comfort zone, but it's not really, it's just slightly different than normal. Aerosoft gave me the beta version, as you may be aware, of the Airbus A318 and 19, and I did a video back in, well, the start of the month actually, it was like last week or the week before, on the A319. We did a flight with that up to Glasgow from Bristol, and the response was quite good. So I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll continue that trend and we'll do something again with the Airbus. But this time I'm going to step it up a little bit, and we're going to fly 3 sectors over 3 videos. This is going to be part 1, and we're going to fly the Speedbird 1 and Speedbird 2 sectors. Speedbird 1 goes from London City to Shannon, and then they do a bunch of stuff at Shannon, and then they go from Shannon to JFK, and then Speedbird 2 comes back from JFK all the way in one long run to London City. So in front of you, you can see PFPX, and normally I already kind of skipped this part, but I'm going to show you something before we get going, because it will be quite useful for when this thing actually releases. There is no real template for the A318. There is a kind of an aircraft template for it built into PFPX, which you can use, I guess, but I have modified it slightly to reflect how the real world BA A318 operates. So if you look here, you can see that today we're going to be flying Golf Echo Uniform November Alpha. Now there's only 2 of them in the fleet. There's November Alpha and November Bravo. They're configured, as far as I'm aware, the exact same, so there isn't much difference. The biggest thing though is that they only carry 32 passengers, so that's a little bit different to the normal configuration of an A318. BA have kitted these out for, I assume, only business class, because there's no way 32 economy seats are going to make them any money on a flight like this. So yeah, 32 passengers. I've edited all the weights to reflect how the real A318 is kitted out, courtesy of a few friends of mine, and also some people on the BA virtual forums as well had a bit of an input into it. So we have it as best as we possibly can as far as weights go. Equipment and configuration, well, this is kind of about 80% done. I have most of it down to a T. There are just a few things which I'm not sure on, but it will do for the sake of this video. As far as ETOPS goes, well, Sector 1 isn't anything to do with ETOPS to Shannon, but then when we go to JFK, we have 180 minutes ETOPS, which I'll talk about in part 2. So if you want to pause it at each individual stage, so you can get down these weights for when it releases, if I can find a way of exporting it all and sending you the information via a text file or something, then check below the video and I'll post it there. So that's that. So as far as PFPX goes, well, it's relatively simple. We are dispatching Speedbird 1, and it's from EGLC to EINN, and we are commercial flight number BA001. It is an international flight. It's a scheduled air service. Well, I'm a little bit early at the moment actually. The real world one departs at about, I think it's 10:15 or 11:15. I can't remember, but it's maybe a couple of hours from now. It's currently, as you can see in the bottom right, 7:41 AM. So it's pretty early, but we will get it to work. So we are in Golf Echo Uniform November Alpha, and we want to give it maximum passengers, maximum payload. Again, I do not see them taking any less than maximum. They might do, but I guess they would be running at a loss then. And then we want to find the routing upper airspace, which gives us a routing out through Compton and then out towards Strumble over the western country, and then into Shannon, runway 06 apparently according to the weather, and that's in via Tipper to Echo. Let it find the destination alternates, which it's going to do now. So the first one is Kerry, followed by Cork, and then Dublin, and then finally Belfast Aldergrove. Okay, I am happy with that. So we can compute that, and we can release that, and then what we can do is we can save it on the desktop for our use in a small while. And we could export it and stuff like that, but I mean, it's the flight is short. I'm going to do everything manually, so we can check the weights. Zero fuel weight of 54.5, which is pretty much max zero fuel weight. You can see there's no discrepancy between the limit and the planned, and we are releasing with 4.7 tons of fuel. Good stuff. Okay, let's jump over to Flight Sim, and we'll get this show on the road. Okay, so here we are on the ground at London City. Stand 22 apparently is the one that they use, 22, 23, 24, all the way down this end of the airport. We have generated the load sheet into the A318. Haven't actually loaded anything just yet, we've just generated the load sheet. But I think this is the first time you'll have seen the A318 model, so I guess I should show you around. Like the A319 and the 20 and the 21, the modeling is always exceptional, same for the texturing. It really is nice. You know, it's funny, maybe it's a placebo effect, but I always feel that when I get into the 19 and the 18, there's a, I don't know, I feel like they've done a little bit more with the texturing. It just feels a little bit more HD. Maybe that's just me. It's a placebo effect. When you get a new product, you always think that it's better than previous attempts. But I don't know. It just feels better. Maybe that's just complete rubbish. But I guess I should ask them and see if they've actually made any improvements to the texturing. We have GSX, as you can see, doing its thing. And well, Active Sky is powering the weather. UK 2000 is powering the scenery, as well as FSX England. And when we get across to Shannon, it will be Eiresim Shannon. You did see the reflections on the A319. The navs and everything bounced off the ground. They haven't implemented them yet into the A318, so it's just a matter of waiting. Again, this is beta, so everything you see is work in progress, so please don't erupt in the comments telling me that things are broken. They're not broken, they just haven't been finished. Don't worry about it. Anyway, enough panning around. You've seen it. Let's fly it. Okay, so VC time. Let us go down here and let us just start the flow of the checklist off, so we can do other things in the process. Before I start that though, let me go to options and checklist. I want to turn off that info bar and turn off the hotkeys because I always accidentally press them. So, cockpit prep, away you go.
Okay, let's start with the cockpit preparation checklist.
Batteries,
Set on,
electrical power,
and the external power is on.
navigation lights,
All on,
engine master,
both off,
engine mode selector,
checked normal,
landing gear lever,
checked,
parking brake,
on,
flaps,
checked position,
speed brake lever,
checked retracted,
thrust levers,
idle,
transponder mode,
checked standby,
radio control panel,
set on,
ECAM recall,
checked,
anti-skid,
on,
flight director,
on,
emergency lights,
set,
no smoking signs,
on,
anti-ice,
all off,
probe window heat,
off,
air condition,
checked,
ventilation panel,
is checked,
electric panel,
checked,
fuel pumps,
set on,
hydraulics,
is checked,
AccuBrake pressure,
Set.
Ground proximity warning system.
All on.
Electronic flight control system.
On.
ADIRS.
Set to nav.
Emergency equipment.
Excelente.
Checked.
That's what I was waiting for. Okay, so they finished their checklist. Now I can actually do the MCDU. So init page EGLC /EINN, and that is alternate of was it KY? Sorry, KY even. And align the IRS. Speedbird 1 is the call sign. I have no idea about the cost index, but it's only a small flight, so I'm just going to use 90. And we are cruising at flight level 360 today, so flight level 360. Okay, if we go over here to this MCDU and then go to load fuel, and we'll initialize the load sheet, that will put everything in, and we'll start the setup of that. Now I have the data from PFPX on the other side, so I can work off that. So we are taking 4.7 today as far as fuel goes, and that will update for us there. So runway 27 for departure. It's via Compton, so Compton 6 Tango, and then from Compton we are taking the airway Upper Lima 9 to a place called Gavgo, Golf Alpha Victor Golf Oscar, and then from there we are taking the Upper Lima 18 to Delta India Kilo Alpha Sierra, pronounce that as you wish. Upper Lima 9 then to a place called Slaney or Slaney, not quite sure how you pronounce that, and then the Lima 9 to Tipper. Okay, that's the flight plan in and done. As far as performance, transition altitude is 6,000 feet. It's flaps 2 apparently out of here, and a pretty low flex to temp. With the weights and stuff that we have today, we can afford to go as high as 25 degrees. So that gives us some nice figures. So the flight plan's done, the MCDU is pretty much complete. All we are waiting for now is the the fuel's loaded. The IRSs have 3 minutes to align. We can look around, I guess. We need MCP altitude of 3,000 feet. That's set. That's the initial climb on the Compton. Well, actually, it's the initial climb on every single departure from City. QNH is set to 1017. Let's have a look down here. What have we got? Transponder set to 2000. We don't need any floodlights. We can tune to Unicom. So 122, if I can get it. 122. Come on. There you go. Decimal 8. And switch that across. Weather radar. Well, we can turn that on. But, I mean, actually it's probably better off left off for the moment. There's no IRSs, so you can't see anything on the main display. A318 then, overhead panel. You can see that now we have a button on the right hand side called Steep Approach, which is exactly that. There's a Steep Approach mod. Oh, by the way, the window's open as well now, which is pretty cool. So you can close the windows by just finding the handle, it's there, and then just right clicking on it, and it's got a nice little sound effect that goes with it. And of course, the difference in volume is noted. Listen. And then back we go. There we go. Cool. Right. Okay. Sorted. So that's all in place. I can get rid of the tray table now. I just brought that out for show. I don't really know why. Anything else have I missed? Probably not. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. We'll wait for the IRSs to align and then we will carry on.
Okay, let's do the before start checklist.
Right, so the doors are closed.
Windows and doors.
Closed and
The
locked.
IRSs are aligned.
Set on.
The ground surfaces are now clear. See, they've gone magically. AP is just starting now. A nice realistic start time on that now. You saw that with the A319. Not much has changed between now and then. It still does the same thing. And you can see down here if we look at the lower ECAS. I think that's what it's called. Or ECAM, is it? ECAS. I need to go and learn the abbreviations of Airbus displays. It's ECAM or ECAS, it's one or the other. You know, it's just starting up now. 72%. There we go, and it's online.
Set on.
External power.
Disconnected and off.
Cabin signs.
Stick the weather radar on now.
Set on.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Bearer reference.
1017.
1017. Check. Beacon lights.
Set on.
Checklist complete.
Excelente. Right, well we can call ground and tell them that we're ready
Flight
to
deck
start.
ground.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, ground. We have ATC clearance for start and the taxi now. So please confirm ground equipment and services are clear.
Roger. You're off from the trucks today, Captain, so your ground equipment and stairs are clear and all doors are closed. Ready when you are.
Is okay.
Alright, so we're good to start the engine now. So we'll flick the starter to start and we'll switch
Starting
the master on.
engine 2.
And there she goes.
Engine 2 is stabilized.
Start number 1.
Starting number 1.
Engine 1 stabilized.
Very good.
And that's a good start on both engines. All systems are normal. Thank you for your help and all clear. We see you for signal on the right, please.
Roger, 2 good starts, all clear signals. See you on the right.
After start, checklist, please.
Engine mode selector.
Set.
APU bleed.
Set off.
APU master.
Set off.
Ground spoilers.
Set.
Rudder trim.
Checked 0.
Pitch trim.
Set.
Flight controls.
Okay, that's my thing. So full left,
Full left.
full
full
right.
right. Neutral. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Check. Flaps.
Flaps 2.
Anti-ice.
All off.
ECAM status.
Checked.
ECAM door page.
Checked.
Hand signal.
Received.
Checklist complete.
Awesome. Okay, we're ready to taxi. So runway 27, we can taxi to the right and then go on to through Delta onto runway 27. So parking brake released. So here's Delta, shortest taxi ever. So we'll enter Delta from Delta, and then we will taxi up runway 0927, and then vacate at the end, taxi around the loop, and then that should be from intersection Mike, from holding point Mike even, and then away we go. Pretty short runway. Pretty short runway. But at the same time, excellent.
And the taxiing checklist.
No slide.
Set on.
Brake check.
As if it wants me to do a brake check while I'm mid round the corner. There you go.
Pedal pressed. 0.
Check. Auto brakes.
Max.
Takeoff data.
Reviewed.
FCU.
Checked.
Slide instruments.
Checked.
Checked. TO config.
Set.
Checklist complete.
Good. We have to wait for the before takeoff checklist, and then we can go. There we go. So let's initiate that.
Flight attendants. Seats for takeoff, please. Before takeoff checklist, please.
Brake temperature.
Checked.
Brake fans.
All off.
Engine mode selector.
Checked. Normal.
TCAS.
TARA tilde above.
Exterior lights.
Set on.
Sliding tables.
Stowed.
Stowed. Checklist complete.
Checklist is good. We are ready for takeoff. Are you ready? I certainly am. Imagine if you like rudder, or your tiller or your pedals or something failed, and you just went straight into the water. Be pretty OP. I'm actually more looking forward to flying back than I am flying there, because I get to fly the steep approach and come over all the scenery because it looks amazing from the ground. Seagulls, please disappear. You're not going to do me any favors apart from break things. Right, well, here is runway 27. And there is London in the distance. Let's just hope these performance tables were accurate. Here we go.
Takeoff. Man, flex, SRS, and
Check.
runway.
Power set.
Check.
Go. Rotate.
Beautiful.
Positive climb.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Nav.
Check.
Oops. Bit bumpy. Straight on autopilot so I can monitor instruments.
Autopilot is going on.
Gears up. Lights off.
Time thrust. Flaps 1.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
Now, normally you'd stop at 3,000 feet as per the initial climb,
Flaps up,
Speed
but
check, flaps
no
up.
ATC, so
and the
all
after
the way up
takeoff
we
check
go.
is good.
Flight level 360, there we go.
Check normal,
Spoilers,
disarmed.
flaps,
Check retracted.
landing gear,
Nice view down there, isn't
Lights
it?
off.
exterior lights,
Set off.
packs,
Both on.
anti-ice,
All off.
TCAS,
Checked.
altimeter,
1017.
1017. Checked. Checklist complete.
Good old London.
Transition altitude.
Aero reference set and cross check.
Check.
It's a bit bumpy, isn't it? Right, let's see if we can give ourselves a shortcut. So, if we go direct to Compton now, that'll cut quite a bit of distance. So we'll do direct Compton, insert, turn us all the way around to the east, sorry not the east, wrong side, the west. And we'll climb all the way up to 36, flight level 360. Job is a good one. So yeah, blah, blah, blah. Try that again. So yes, those performance tables seem to work quite well.
Lights off.
Didn't look like we were about to crash or fly off the end of the runway. All felt pretty safe to me. Well, as safe as London City can feel. Alright, so flight level 360 at the moment, just approaching Slaney, just past Strimble, just approaching the border between Ireland and England. Out over the sea, or just leaving the western coast of the UK. So we'll be descending soon, so we should really program the arrival. So we've got 140 miles to go. So arriving at the moment, the wind is from the southeast, so it's runway 06 ILS approach, and it's in via the Tipper to Echo. As far as the transition, well, LPOM is pretty much on the ILS, so we'll just go for LPOM. and that should join up nicely, which it does. Great. Okay, so performance approach page. The weather, as I said, from the southeast, so 120 degrees at 7 knots. The transition altitude is 5,000 feet. Temperature is 12 degrees, pretty cold. And the QNH is 1019. We are ILS capable. ILS DME decision altitude is 250 feet, which is set there. Excelente. So, that is us ready to descend when the TD marker says so. Let's get a look of the aircraft while we're in the cruise. It's something I really forget to do the majority of my videos, is actually look outside. Lots of people want to see the outside. Contrails provided by Contrails Pro, for those of you who are wondering. And it's actually the contrails are Contrails Pro, but the actual texture for the contrails are provided by the Rex contrails, which I do believe are not available anymore, but I do have a copy saved, so I may have to get in contact with Rex and see if they'll allow me to upload them somewhere and redistribute them. But we'll see how that goes. But there you go, the A318 in all of its glory. Looks pretty beautiful. Although the strobe lights are a little bit bold, but I think that's something to do with my system. I don't think that's the actual the ones that it ships with, because the older copy of it used to have OK lights. So maybe it's something that I have that's overridden the light files or something, I don't know. But there we go. There's the eastern coast even, of Ireland. And that's the direction we're heading in.
Okay, let's go through the descent preparation checklist.
Seatbelt signs.
On.
Anti-ice.
All off.
Landing information.
Received.
Altimeter.
Standard.
Bearer radio.
Checked.
Checklist complete.
Okay, so as you heard, the descent checklist has been completed, and it is now about time to start the descent into Shannon. So I'm just going to drop it all the way down to 3,000 feet, and we'll just follow the vertical profile. Relatively self-explanatory. Okay, let's do this. So 3,000 feet. I'll zoom in on the ND so I can actually see when the TD marker hits us, and then I'll push the altitude knob in, and that will go into descent mode, and we'll start going down. Maybe 10 seconds. And there we go.
Initiating descent.
FMA check.
Radar tilt.
Set to below.
Ooh, that turbulence.
Passing 10,000 feet.
Lights on.
On.
Okay, so passing 10,000 feet. Not long to go. Maybe, I don't know, 35 miles, less than that. We've got 15 until Reka. I think that's the point. Yeah, Reka. And then, what, another 15 or so, maybe. So 30 miles to go-ish. Everything is good, everything is set up. A little bit turbulent on the way down. It's actually been turbulent for the majority of the flight, so good old British, Irish weather. It's always fun.
Approach checklist.
Ecam status.
Checked.
Sliding tables.
Stowed.
Stowed. Cabin signs.
Checked.
Nav accuracy.
Checked.
Bearer reference.
Standard.
Checklist complete.
There's the approach checklist.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Okay, I'm going to take the autopilot out.
Takeoff.
And I'm going to fly this manually now, all the way down. Because why not? Follow the instruments for the time being.
Transition altitude.
Bearer reference set and cross check. 1019.
1.
No
0,
visual
1,
just yet.
9.
A bit of cloud in the
Checked.
way. Oh well. A little bit high, but not too much. Start a gentle right turn. It's actually not too bad. A bit more of a right turn. Round we go. Altitude's looking good. 12 miles to run. Thereabouts.
Localizer alive.
There we go. There's the localizer. Might shoot through it a little bit, but we might be okay actually. Yeah, we'll go through it a little bit. Altitude's still good. Okay, there's the runway ahead of us there. You can just see a little grey line. Actually, to be honest, that turn was pretty spot on. Like a fraction left of the localizer.
2,500.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go below the glide and then use that altitude to gain some speed. I'm going to get rid of the flight director because it's going to put me off. So doing 200 knots now. Now we
Speed
can
check. Flaps 2.
get all the way back like that and then bleed that speed off.
Flaps 3.
Speed check.
Beautiful.
Flaps 3.
And flaps full, please.
Speed check. Flaps full.
That's what I like to see. Lost the pappies. It's pretty
Landing
interesting.
checklist, please.
Landing gear.
Down and locked. 3 green.
Ground spoilers.
Checked and armed.
Auto brakes.
Medium.
Exterior lights.
All on.
Go around altitude.
Checked.
Landing memo.
Checked. And no blue.
Checklist complete.
One 1,000.
There's the pappies back again. 2 reds, 2 whites. That's what we want to see. And now they've disappeared again. Welcome back, Pappy Lights. And bye-bye. Okay, I'm just being trolled now. I'm just going to ignore them.
500. 400. 300 above. 200. Minimum
Landing.
Continue.
100.
Crosswind from the right.
70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard, retard, retard.
Ground spoilers.
What a greaser. Reverses. Wow. I didn't even realise that touched the
70
ground.
knots.
Manual brakes.
Auto brakes off.
Now what we can do is we can slow down here. We can just spin it around. Use some right diff brake.
APU on.
And
Ah,
after
that landing.
checklist, please.
That landing.
Exterior lights.
Checked.
Ground spoilers.
Set off.
Engine mode selector.
Checked normal.
Flaps.
Checked retracted.
TCAS.
Checked standby.
Brake temperature.
Checked
APU.
on.
Checklist complete.
Awesome. Checklist is complete, so we'll vacate here on Alpha, and then we can taxi to a stand. Not quite sure what stand they use for this turnaround, because they're not on the ground for very long, I don't think. They just have to do some board or control checks and stuff, and then they go to JFK. I don't think they pick anyone up from here. I'm not even sure if the passengers get off the plane, but we'll just park it wherever we see fit, to be honest. Too bothered about that. Yeah, good scenery. Looks good. Not gonna lie, that landing though. That landing. So on the right hand side here, there's just a bunch of 30 stands, so we'll take, let's see, 37, 34, 37. We'll use that 37 one there. It's right in front of us. I wonder if GSX will allow us to do it. 37. Yep, there we go. Everything is awaiting us on stand 37, which is just here. There's the marshaller. And parking brake set. And please cut engines. There we go. The engines are cut.
It was a nice flight. So let's do the parking checklist and then we are done for the day.
Parking brake and chocks.
And the chocks are set. Parking brakes released.
Engine master.
Both off.
Seatbelt signs.
He's bowing to
Set
me.
off.
Beacon lights.
So, there we have it. Part 1 is complete. I honestly don't think they'd offload bags and stuff like that, but that's just the way GSX is. But yeah, it's that flight was super fun. Now we have to cross the pond in part 2. That should be interesting. There's a whole new challenge with that. ETOPS and stateside ATC and stateside clearances and it's going to be so much fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. And part 2 will be out by the time you've watched part 1, probably. Well, I'm hoping it will be anyway. So, until next time, from Shannon, take care all. See you soon. Bye guys.